Brahms Banana Fudge Sundae gives a whole new meaning to decadent taste. 2 creamy scoops of premium vanilla ice cream overflowing with delicious hot fudge and fresh slices of banana to create the perfect balance between the fruity banana flavor and rich hot fudge. Treat yourself to a banana fudge sundae at Brahms, where every spoonful is pure bliss.
Welcome, football fans, to another playoff edition of the Squirtle Pay Dirt Pick'em Show. I am your host, Andy Campbell. We have a great panel tonight. Mark Rogers, Sean Meek with us, as always, as the voices of Squirtle. You'll be hearing them throughout the football and basketball seasons. We also have our 2 coaches on from last week back on the panel tonight, Lynn Shackelford from Cashion and Chris Elrick from Drumright. Our last panel member, we have added Norman North's head coach, Justin Jones, to the panel tonight. Coach Jones, you've been on the show with us now for several years. Tell us about your Timberwolves season and what you're looking forward to in 2026.
Yeah, we had a young team this year. I think we played 8 sophomores and really only played 3 or 4 juniors or seniors. So, young team, had a average year. Not quite the expectations that we have for the way that we finished, but proud of our guys and the guys that we bring back and what we're going to be able to do moving forward. I'm excited about. So, bright future ahead.
Coach Jones, thanks for being on the panel tonight. Always enjoy having you. If your favorite team is a Squirrel Network school, we will be talking about your game on the show tonight, assuming you have a game this week. If it's a semifinal game this next week, we'll talk about your game next week. So we have 5 network games to discuss tonight, all of which will hopefully be available for free on the Squirrel app and squirrel.tv, at least to listen to. There will at least be an audio feed. I know these individual schools have requested permission from the OSSAA to actually live stream the games. I think some of those requests are pending, so follow your school network to see if you'll have a live stream or just an audio, but should at least be able to hear the game on Squirtle app, squirrel.tv. All right, we're going to start the show tonight with Class C, Timberlake versus Medford. This is a Squirtle game of the week. That will be a school network game. Again, hopefully be able to see the live stream of that. Timberlake Tigers made quick work of Maud last week in the quarterfinals, winning that game 70-22. Medford moved to 10-2 on the year with a 28-18 win over Mountain View Gotebo last week. This Class C semifinal game will be played on Friday at 7 p.m. in Watonga. Sean Meek, kick us off.
Yeah, Medford's coming off a huge win last week down at Mountain View. Big win for the Cardinals last week in the quarters. Medford defense been playing really well as of late. Only giving up 20 points, more than 20 points one time the entire season. That's pretty tough to do in 8-man. You see a lot of high scoring games. Timberlake offense appears to be firing on all cylinders though. They're kind of a monster. They got it rolling right now. Scored 70 last week against Mod. So I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think that it's going to be a great game, but I think I'm going to take Timberlake to get the win over Medford.
Mark.
Maverick Judd got hurt week before last, which is a big blow to Timberlake. They've been incredible year after year, advancing deep into the playoffs. I think this is going to be Medford's year. It should be a really close game, but I'm going to go with Medford.
Coach Elrick.
I think it's a pick'em game. It's a toss-up. And Medford's had a great run. Those guys are playing really good. But, man, Coach Severin and Timberlake, those guys are built for playing late November and December. I'm going with Timberlake.
Coach Shack.
I rolled with Timberlake and the Black Jeans last week, and I'm gonna keep the trend alive until I'm proven wrong. So I'm going Timberlake again.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, just looking at and doing a little bit of research I did today, I've had a chance to see Timberlake play in the playoffs the past couple of years. I really like what Coach Severin does, and I'm going to go with Timberlake as well.
All right, winner of that matchup will face the winner of the Ryan Tipton game in the state championship that will be played on Friday, December the 5th at noon at UCO. Let's go to Pick'em game number 2. We're going to move on to Class B2. We'll start with the Sealing Wildcats, who ended Coyle's season by a score of 50-0 last week in the quarterfinals. The Cherokee Chiefs moved to 10-2 on the year with a 38-14 win over Surreal. Cherokee and Sealing will square off on Friday at 1 p.m. in Alva on the campus of Northwestern. Mark Rogers, who wins in Alva on Friday afternoon?
I just want to say it's been not the greatest year for me, so I'm not afraid to take on all you guys in that last game. So y'all will probably win, but come after me on this one. I'm going with Sealing. Cherokee's had a great year. That was an impressive win that they had last week against Cyril at home, and I was wrong on that. But I think that Sealing's probably just too difficult to beat.
Sean.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of Mark's points. Cherokee's had a great year. Hats off to the Chiefs and their staff and their kids. They've had a great run this year. I just think Sealing's too much. I think I think Cherokee's had a great year, but I think this is where it stops. I think the Wildcats are too much for Cherokee this week.
Coach Elbert.
Not to sound repetitive, Cherokee's had a great year. Those guys play physical. They play hard. They're a good team. But Sealing is another level. Again, tip of the cap to Coach Manuel and those guys up there. He gets a lot out of those dudes. I'm going with Sealing.
Shaq.
I took Cherokee last week and got a pat on the back on the Friday night show, but I got to see Sealing up close and personal last year at Cashin when we hosted them, and their kids look different. You know, athletics is a big deal at Sealing, and the weight room's a big deal at Sealing. And Coach Manuel, I've known since I was in high school. He does a great job, and I think they're probably gonna take care of business this week.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to echo the same sentiments. Known Coach Manuel for a long time. Love what he does, and again, Cherokee's had a great season. But I think the other thing about Sealing is they play really good defense, and to go along with their offense. So I'm going to go with the Sealing Wildcats.
Entire panel taking Sealing to win that Class B2 semifinal game, and the winner will face the winner of our next game to discuss, Wawika versus O'Keene in the state finals. But before we get to that, Mark, you've been putting together an incredible Friday night show on Squirtle. Tell us about that, how we can watch it, and what you guys do on that Friday night show.
Yeah, we're doing a recap, and we start at 9:00, and so we will watch and kind of comment on the games that are going on, and then we have a ton of interviews from people that are covering the games to the coaches and the players, and Lynn and Adam are all with us, so it will be a lot of fun. We're going to continue to do it throughout the playoffs, and it's a great avenue to find out what happened at the games. So it's been great the last 2 weeks, so we look forward to continuing to do that.
Been a lot of fun to watch that show. Look forward to it again this week. So let's go ahead and talk about that other Class B2 semifinal between O'Keene and Wawika. This is also a Squirtle Network Squirtle Game of the Week, which we played on Friday at 7 p.m. at Jones High School. Both of these teams were dominant in their quarterfinal games with shutout wins over Waukomis and Wilson Henrietta last week. Sean Meek, who moves on to the finals?
Well, I think this is the best 8-man game in the state this week. It just looks like it could go either way. Both these teams are really good. Both of these teams are state championship level teams. Wawika defense is really good. They're giving up just a hair over 9 points a game on the season. I could see this game being really high scoring. I think both teams have a really high scoring offense, but I think Wawika is going to get just enough stop to win the game. I could see a game being 50-46, something like that. But I'm going to give the Wawika Outlaws just a slight edge over the Whippets this week.
Mark.
I think if we had a game between anybody in the 8-man class, that Wawika would be the favorite to win. Isaiah Drake went over the 10,000-yard passing mark 2 weeks ago. They're incredible. So I'm going to go with Wawika to win this one in a good game. O'Keene's got a really good team, but I think Wawika will win.
Coach Elbert.
Time flies by and you turn around and you're the bald guy in the room, but it does you a lot of good in the heart when you look down and you see the coaches of these two teams, Coach Geringer at Wawika, Coach Allen at O'Keene, a couple of really, really good young coaches that coach hard, that study the game, that teach their teams to play it the right way and respect the game. Really excited about the matchup. Just a great semifinal game. But at the end of the day, Isaiah Drake's a dude, and I'm going to go with the dude. Coach Allen, great run, respect, but I'm going with Wawika.
Check.
I mean, two great mascots. I mean, the Outlaws. I was corrected last week, I guess, on Facebook, but I mean, they'll always be the outlaw horses to me. I mean, there's a horse in the middle of the field, so I'm going with the horses and the cat and the Morrison grad this week. Wake is good. I mean, they've been good for a really long time. I said it last week. Their tradition's pretty crazy in 8-man football. I know O'Keens got some incredible football tradition itself, but I think it'll be an awesome game to watch. But I'm taking Walika, like Sean said, maybe 60-58 or something like that. It'll probably be over at 11.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to go against the panel. I'm going to go with O'Keene in this one. I just feel like this is an upset. I think that O'Keene's got a really good football team, and I think Friday night's their night.
Coach Jones taking the Whippets. Again, that B2 state championship game we played on Thursday, December 4th at noon at UCO. We'll be talking about that matchup next week on the show. All right, let's move on to Class B1. The Dewar Dragons shut out Waurika 48-0 in the quarterfinals, and now we'll face Hollis at 7 p.m. at Alec High School. The Hollis Tigers ended Quinton's season 28-14 last week in the quarterfinals. Mark Rogers, Dewar versus Hollis.
Props to Quinton, who played really well on a long road trip to Hollis last week. This is another really good game. I will go with the Dragons to win this one.
Sean.
Another great 8-man game this week. Another great semifinal game. Dewar's defense has been dominant. They've given up 6 points total in the playoffs thus far. Hollis is an excellent team, but they're having trouble offensively at times, scoring very much. So I'm just going to give the edge, I think, to Dewar for that reason. I think they're going to be able to hold Hollis's offense down. So I'll take the Dragons in another great game.
Coach Elbert.
So, they played last year. Dewar got after these guys. We actually got beat by Hollis last year in the quarterfinals. The Parker kid at quarterback's really, really good. I think this is an underrated game. I think Hollis is a really, really good team. But we got beat out by Quinton in the first round. And we're watching film on Quinton, and it's tight end wing, wide zone. Then we've got about 4 different adjustments to try to stop it. And we pop in the Dewar film, and Dewar had one adjustment. Line up in base defense. Your defensive end wrecks the tight end, wrecks the wing, and makes a tackle for a 4-yard loss. I'm going with Dewar.
I like that. Coach Shack.
Yeah, kind of like ceiling. I mean, Dewar just looks different physically. It's kind of crazy. We used to be in an 8-man district with Dewar and played Hollis in an 11-man quarterfinal game all within the last 20 years. So it's kind of weird how schools change quite a bit. But no, I'll take the Dragons this week.
Coach Jones.
Yep, I'm going to stick with the defense. I think Dewar's got it, and that's who I'm going to go with.
All right, winner of that matchup will face the winner of Laverne and Pond Creek in the state finals Thursday, December 4th at 7 at UCO. Let's go to that other Class B1 semifinal game, which will be played on Friday at 7 p.m. in Alva on the campus of Northwestern. Pond Creek got a big 44-12 win over Yale last week to move on to the semifinals. The Laverne Tigers had an impressive 48-0 shutout win over Caddo. Mark Rogers, give us a breakdown. Pond Creek Hunter versus Laverne.
I can't remember if it was 2007 or 2008. I was working at Channel 5. I said, we got to send a crew out there to Cashin to get video of Ronell Lewis. And I mean, I'm kind of a football novice, but
it was 2007.
2007. It just looked like they were turning and tossing him the football, and he was just running with it with unencumbered. There was no one there to stop him. So I know that Shaq had some good defenses designed to stop him, but sometimes at whatever level you're in, if you've got a dude out there, then that makes a big difference. So
his parents were way better than our kids' parents.
Yeah, he was a great player. All right, which game are we picking here? I'm sorry, I had to go give that story. Not that good a story.
Pond Creek versus Laverne.
Laverne has been really good this year. They had a really nice win last week, and so I'm going to go with Laverne.
Mark taking the Tigers. Sean Meek.
The 46-0 for Laverne last week over Caddo. That's a really impressive victory. I know Caddo had to go all the way out to Laverne. That probably affected them a little bit, but beating those guys 46-0, Laverne is playing really, really well. They have yet to give up a point in the playoffs yet through 2 rounds. So defensively, I know I've talked about defense a lot, but the Tigers have been dominant. Pond Creek had a great win last week at Yale. That was a big-time win for them. But I just think Laverne's got too much firepower. I've got Laverne moving past Pond Creek to face Dewar next week for the state title.
I think that was the best win in all of 8-man last week. Laverne beating Caddo that bad. I mean, Caddo's had a good season. They played Dewar very close to 2 points, and so I think that was a statement win for Laverne last week.
Yeah, I didn't see that game being that wide of a margin. That was really impressive.
Coach Elbert.
Hey, real quick, weighing in on Ronell. We played them his senior year in 2008, Stroud Dewar, and it was not hard at the coin toss to figure out who the future NFL player was. I'll just say that. Man, Pond Creek, great run, great win last week. Coach Bowman, great season. But Laverne put it on Caddo. Impressive. I'm going with Laverne.
Jack.
I'm taking the Tigers as well. The gym in Laverne's named after some relative of mine. I can't trace the lineage, but
Nice.
I know it is. So because of that, I'll take the Tigers. Plus, it just seems like, this time of the year they're always playing and always playing well. So I'll go with Laverne.
Is it Jane Giroux Gymnasium?
It is not. It's actually Shackelford Hall, but I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I think it was. I asked. We went out there one time when I was helping out at Morrison to play, and I found out who it was named after, and then asked my dad. I think it was my grandpa's second cousin, something like that.
Nice.
Not close enough that we hung out at family reunions, but still kind of cool.
Impressive.
Are we going to have a Shackelford Hall in Cashion someday? A statue?
No,
Maybe out there?
no, that's Coach Hardaway. We'll name the gym after.
Very good. Coach Jones, go to you. PCH versus Laverne.
I'm going to go with Laverne. I think they're a good football team, and they always play well this time of year.
All right, the 2 winners from those semifinal games will play in the state championship game at UCO on December 4th at 7 p.m. Those are our 5 Squirrel Network games that will be played this Friday. Again, at least we'll have an audio stream and perhaps a live stream feed. Still waiting to hear on some of those matchups. So let's now talk about some other games of interest that we played throughout the state this week. Starting, we're going to go Class C all the way up to 6A1, but we're going to start with the number 1 team in the state, Bixby versus Broken Arrow. This game will be played Friday, 1 p.m. at Catoosa High School. Mark Rogers, Bixby versus BA.
BA's done a really nice job this year. They've got a ton of players. They had some good kids move in into the district, but I don't think that really anyone in Class 6A Division I is going to be able to hang with Bixby. So I'll go with the Spartans.
Sean.
Yeah, hats off to Broken Arrow for a big win over Mustang last week. I picked against Broken Arrow last week, which is usually a good omen for teams in big games. If I pick against them, they usually end up winning. But I can't pick against Bixby, just like Mark said. They've got the most talent in the state. They're the best team in the state. So I'm going to pick the Spartans over the Tigers, but I'll pick Broken Arrow to surprise some folks and keep this game close into the fourth quarter, but Bixby will be too much.
Coach Jones, I think you missed out on Bixby this year, but you did play Broken Arrow. So to give us your breakdown this matchup.
Yeah, just like everybody said, Bixby is without a doubt, the best team, and obviously what they've done here in the recent past and the way that Coach Montgomery operates is second to none, and really, the standard of Oklahoma high school football. And he gets the best out of his kids and the way that they play, and not only Coach Montgomery but his staff, Coach Flowers and Coach Snyder, do an incredible job. And if you're not on top of your A game, they'll put 60 and 70 on you in a hurry. And they do it in all 3 phases. And so obviously, they're the team that's been there, done that. They've played in tight games and played in blowouts. But, I think they're kryptonite a little bit. If you ever look at them on a rain game or during a rain game, that's probably the only kryptonite that they have the past couple of years. And it looks like the weather's going to be nice. So, obviously Bixby's the favorite. But I will tell you something, there is I've heard this with the Travis Hill effect. I think if you look at what Coach Hill has done with his staff, really from week 1 to 2, when they played Mustang week 2, and then really kind of how they matriculated through their district schedule, they got better and better. Again, some fantastic coaches on that side. I think, BA's probably got one of the best secondaries in the state. They're going to be able to play some man coverage and not let all the shifts and motions steal their eyes. I think they've got, Samaj is probably one of the best defensive backs in the state, and they got two good corners to go with him. But then when you look at BA's front, like their box on defense is really good, and then they're absolutely massive on offense. And I think Coach Wilkinson has figured it out as well as far as the way that he's operating offensively. This is going to be I think you could play, BA's offense kind of on a car hood, right? I think it's all going to be in the box, and it's going to be a lot of runs and trying to keep Bixby's offense on the sidelines. And so I do think this is going to be a closer game than what a lot of people would pick for it, because I do think BA has gotten better and better. But I still think Bixby is the class of the field, and I'm going to go with Bixby.
Yeah, weather is looking good Friday night. It seems like it's Saturday in Norman and Stillwater that could have some rainy, cold days. Coach Shack, let's go to you. Bixby versus Broken Arrow.
It could have effect on the Pokes on Saturday. They probably won't. They may not have as good a shot with it raining as it would if it was nice. But I watched the BA Mustang game quite a bit last week. Justin's right. I mean, they've got some things figured out. And I talked about it a little bit last week. Jay does a good job calling offense, and they've got some freaks on defense. They really do, and they fly around to the football. And I know Mustang's got some really good athletes, and Broken Arrow matched up really well with them. But I don't think they're going to pull off the upset of the year. But I do think it'll be a really good game. I just think you get this point of the year, and sometimes you kind of throw out recent history, and I think Broken Arrow's playing really well. Like Justin said, Coach Hill does a really good job. He's won a bunch of big football games, so this isn't going to be anything new for those guys. But I'll take Bixby, but I think it'll be go into the fourth quarter. Maybe Broken Arrow can catch a break or two and pull an upset. But I'll take the Spartans in a close one.
Justin has some great talent on his team this year. There's a bunch in Class 6A Division I that you're going to see on Saturdays. Tristan Cherry at Bixby plays on both sides of the ball, and he's the best interior player that Bixby's had, I think, in Lauren's tenure there. He's awesome. I mean, he's active and physical and a stud, and they've got a lot of good position players too, and skill players. So, I mean, this is a great game with a lot of talent on the field.
Coach Elrick, finish us up with Bixby and Broken Arrow.
I think Coach Wilkinson at BA, shout out to a Stroud guy. He's as good of an OC as you'll find. Coach Hill clearly has a record of winning games. He's a good one. Coach Jones kind of talking me off the ledge a little bit, but I'm going to stick to my pick. And unless Bixby moves into the GAC or the MIAA, I don't see him losing anytime soon. So I'll go with Bixby.
All right, let's move on to Jinx versus Owasso. This game will be played Friday at 7 p.m. at Catoosa High School. Mark?
Wow, this is a great game. I think this one could go either way. I will go with Jinx, barely. But this one will go right down to the wire.
Sean?
Week 2 rematch. Jinx beat Owasso 31-21 back in week 2. Obviously, two completely different teams than back in week 2. They got quite a few common opponents. Jinx seems to have just a slightly kind of larger average margin of victory over all the common opponents they played. So I think over the course of the season, that says a little bit. At the end of the day, I think it's a toss-up. I think the game can go either way, but I'll agree with Mark, and I'll go Jinx in a game that I think will be decided by one possession.
Coach Jones?
Yeah, this is a game I think is two extremely and evenly matched teams. I think, again, this time of year, I think the run game and defense wins. Obviously I'm going to start with Jinx because I think they're the favorite slightly. Again, what Coach Gaylor has done, and then obviously Coach Chronister, what he's brought to Jinx has been explosive. But even more importantly, what Coach Chronister's doing to get KD Jones the ball in a variety of ways and allow him to really win games with again, a great offensive line and again, really good quarterback play that they've had in being able to distribute the ball. But obviously, Katie Jones is the guy, right? And he's the guy that wins a lot of games for him. It's going to be hard for Owasso, but Owasso is legitimately one of the better defenses in 6A1. And they've got a defensive front that's as good as anybody in the state. All three of those down guys are really good. Three good linebackers, and then what they do in the secondary is really good too. And the thing about Coach Blankenship, right, is he doesn't worry about how pretty the game is. He just tries to win it, and I think that's one of the reasons for margins of victory maybe being a little bit different. He understands how to really pull back offensively and bleed the clock and do those things. But again, we played Owasso. I've seen Jinx a lot on tape and really impressed with what they're doing. But the other thing that I think, again, when you look at the Owasso running back and Frankenfield, I think both of those guys are really, really good. And then they've got three really good receivers to complement the run game at Owasso. So, man, this is a toss-up for me. I think it could go either way. I'm going to again, I think it's hard to beat a team twice. So I'm going to go, I've been back and forth on this all day. I'm going to go with Owasso in this game. I'm going to go with Bill Blankenship in the fact that he's been there, done that. And I think they're playing even better now than what they started at the beginning of the year. But this could be, this could be an overtime game. I think this is maybe the game of the week at our level.
Coach Shaq?
Yeah, I think 6A1, this is kind of the weekend where, you get some really good games. And there's, like Mark said, there's a whole bunch of really good players on both sides. So it's going to come down to, who doesn't make the most mistakes and who can execute their game plan the best. And like Justin said, Coach Blankenship's a legend in Oklahoma high school football, but I've known Coach Gaylor since we were at a team camp at NEO back before probably either one of us could shave very often. So I think he's one of the best defensive coaches in our state. And, I don't think that's really an argument. So I think he dreams up some ways to slow the Rams down, and the Jones kid gets in the end zone one more time than anybody from Owasso does. So I'll take the Trojans in a war.
Coach Ellert?
Well, it's an interesting matchup in the fact that, they get to go play at Catoosa, right? Which is kind of a downgrade for both teams. I'm sure Catoosa's great, but maybe they should make them play at Pawnee. Like, here you go, grass field with nothing on it but dirt and a tiny locker room. Just get after it. I think the coaching matchup super interesting. Yeah, Bill Blankenship on one side, and Shaq kind of stole my thunder a little bit. Adam Gaylor on the other side, and I met Adam probably at the same team camp, circa 2002-ish, on the banks of Tar Creek at NEO. Always respected both those guys. Age and wisdom, and not that Adam's a terribly young guy, but incredibly intense and really, really sharp. I'm going to tip the hat to Adam Gaylor and the Jinx Trojans.
All right, those are the 6A1 matchups. Let's now move on to 6A2. We'll start with Choctaw versus Stillwater, a game to be played Friday, 1 p.m. at Edmond North. Mark Rogers.
Stillwater is young, but they're really talented. Very good sophomore quarterback and running back. So this class is wide open. I think the other matchup is going to be good too between Sand Springs and Putnam City, but I'll go with Stillwater to win this.
Sean?
So Stillwater won the first matchup 21-14 back in week 7. Two really good teams. Like Mark said, Stillwater's loaded. I saw them play Carl Albert back early in the season. They just got guys all over the field. I was really impressed with their sophomore running back, Adams. That guy's going to be a stud. Deacon Jones, a receiver's a stud. The big defensive end, number 7, Cologne, that guy just makes plays all over the field. So everything on paper probably says Stillwater. But I think the Yellow Jackets are gonna get them in a rematch. I think Choctaw's going to find a way to win the game and get a little revenge on that week 7 loss and punch their ticket back to the title game.
Coach Jones?
Yeah, this is another tough game to pick. I think both teams have been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. And I don't know that either one has truly played a complete 4-quarter game. Stillwater obviously had to play Southmore back-to-back and struggled a little bit not really from Southmore's doing, but kind of shooting themselves in the foot in the first half last week. And then, obviously Choctaw has kind of been up and down and been in some close games. And I think it's been, it's a little bit of a rebuilding year for them. But it's hard for me. We scrimmage Stillwater. I know what kind of talent that they have. Obviously, their defense and kind of things that they put out there, you can either hit them big or you're going to take a big loss. But I do think Stillwater's got guys at every level. I do like the quarterback. I like the running back. They've got a really good receiver as well. Choctaw has the same. Again, it's hard to beat a team twice, but I'm going to go with Coach K. Wood and the Fighting Pioneers on this one.
Shaq.
Coach K. Wood and I have gotten pretty close over the last 4 or 5 years, and he actually let me on his huddle last year, so I get to watch all their games and practices or whatever. So I've got a up close and personal view of the Pioneers this year. But two really good teams and two programs that I think over the last 10 years have really grown their football programs and could go compete in 6A1, and nobody would even notice a difference between them and most schools in that class. But I think it'll be a great game. Coach Corbin does a great job at Choctaw. Mark, you'll know this, but they've been in the semifinals 5 out of the last 6 years.
Yeah,
something like
so.
that.
And they've played Bixby really close in a couple of games since that time too. So
yeah, so I think it'll be a great game. But I love what Coach K. Wood does at Stillwater. It's really it's kind of simple but really good offensively, and then defensively, if you can figure out what they're doing, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. But they've got some good players. I just think that I think Stillwater's kind of due this year. I really do. I think they're going to find a way to win 2 more and take a gold football back to Stillwater. So I'll take the Pioneers.
Coach Ellert.
I don't follow either one of these teams terribly closely. I don't have huddle access.
Good stuff. You get it.
Hey, Sean, did you say they have a dude named Deacon Jones?
they do.
Yeah, big receiver. Yeah, junior.
Man, great job naming your kid. That's outstanding.
Yeah.
All that being said, I'm going Stillwater.
All right, Coach Ellert taking the Pioneers. Let's go to that other semifinal game, Putnam City versus Sand Springs. This game, Friday, 7 p.m., Edmond North High School. Mark Rogers.
Putnam City's really good this year. They've got 2 really good defensive players on the defensive line. Coach Alexander's son. Then they've got another player that's going to Kansas State. Quarterback, running back, both very good. I think Sand Springs has probably got a little bit more depth. I like Easton Webb. He's going to go play at Texas State, the quarterback. Bobby Klink's done a great job at Sand Springs, and I think he's kind of put the Sandites in the mix to be a state championship team this year, and I might pick them to win it. They haven't had to face Choctaw and hadn't had to face Stillwater yet, but I'm going to go with Sand Springs in a really close one here.
Sean.
Yeah, it seems like we said this on almost every game, but it's almost a toss-up on this game. Hats off to Sand Springs for their non-district scheduling. I mean, they went and played Bixby and Owasso to start the season off, so no doubt those games like that have made them better as they've went throughout district play. Just kind of feel like Sand Springs has been building to this point for the last couple of years, and they're kind of due. These 2 teams have a couple common opponents late in the season that they play with Muskogee and Piedmont. It seemed like Sand Springs controlled those games just a little bit better than Putnam City did, but Putnam City's got guys all over the field too. So I just kind of feel like Sand Springs is due. So I'm going to take the Sandites to win and get back to their first state title game since 2015.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to – first of all, hats off to Coach Alexander. I think what he's done at PC has been really good. Obviously, you got some new kids that have moved in there, and they're playing really good offense and really good defense. But, I've known Coach Klink for a long time, and the things that he does, I think, Coach Meek, you said it, hats off to him for scheduling those guys. He's not afraid to play anybody, and I think that's been the mentality that he's brought to Sand Springs and really been building there. They've got a new offensive coordinator, but Easton Webb is really good. He's a good quarterback. I've seen him at 7-on-7 and other places, and just the way that they play. In all 3 phases of the game, I think Sand Springs takes this by a couple touchdowns. I really like the Sandites.
All right, let's go to you, Coach Shack.
If you guys don't follow Coach Klink on Twitter, you need to. He's a tremendous follow on Twitter. So because of that, and because I think Sandites is an underrated mascot, and I really don't know much about either one of them outside of that, I'm taking Sand Springs.
Coach Elbert.
Shaq, have you been banned from Twitter? Is that why we don't see your tweets?
No, you're thinking of the not Lynn Shackelford. I think it's been banned.
Okay.
But
That's
no,
definitely that.
I'm more of a lurker than a poster nowadays. You know, I kind of like to fly under the radar on social media.
Understood.
Coach Elbert.
So not Lynn Shackelford, about circa 2017, 2018 was a pretty solid follow there for a little while.
Was.
It was good stuff. I don't know a ton about either team. I'm going with Charles Page High School, aka Sand Springs. If you put it in Google Maps as Sand Springs High School, you're not getting anywhere. You got to put in Charles Page.
I like it.
All right, we're going to drop all the way down to the other Class C semifinal game, Tipton versus Ryan. This game will be played at Friday, 1 p.m. Ellick High School. Sean Meek starts off Tipton versus Ryan.
Another really good 8-man semi going to Class C. So they played earlier in the season. Tipton, Ryan won that game at Tipton, 34-26. So very competitive game. Tipton's just another one of those teams that you just learn not to pick against this time of year. They just seem to always find a way to get it done. But I think Ryan, I think this is their year to go win. I got them punching their ticket to the title game. So I think Ryan, I like the Cowboys this week.
Mark.
Yeah, that win ended a 12-game losing streak to Tipton. So Ryan's been kind of building the last couple of years. They lost to Tipton in the 2023 state championship game, lost to Timberlake in the semifinals. And so I think this is their year. So I'll go with the Cowboys to finally get a little bit of revenge on that series that Tipton has so much success in.
Coach Elbert.
It's really tough to bet against Tipton. Coach White does a great job. Those dudes are in the mix every year. But there's no way I'm betting against Jefferson County. Go Cowboys.
Coach Elbert, ready for that one.
Absolutely.
Is that Waurika, the county seat there?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
I don't know that because I have a ticket there. I'm just
Coach Shack, let's go to you. Tipton versus Ryan.
So did the Ryan win earlier this year? Did that break Tipton's win streak? Didn't they have like a win streak going up to that point? Or am I way off on that?
No, I think they may have lost one before that.
Yeah, Laverne beat them.
Okay. All right.
Regular season.
I got you. I don't know enough about either one of them to make a real educated guess, other than Tipton seems to always be playing in the semifinals, or at least they have the last 4 or 5 years. But I'm kind of like Coach Elric. I've got a little bit of nostalgia when it comes to the Ryan Cowboys from back in my high school days. So if anybody is due a state championship, and I know they won one? They won 1, 2. If anybody's due another one, it's the Ryan Cowboys. So I'm going with them.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be hard to pick against Coach White till Coach Elric just put that hat on. So I'm going to go with the Ryan Cowboys.
Is that the same hat from high school? Have we kept it this long?
No, this is a new one. I had a buddy send this to me, actually.
Okay. All right.
It's nice and white.
Yeah. I was going to say that must mean you didn't get a lot of run on the diamond back in the day.
But we didn't have baseball back then. You go pretend to run track.
We'll go now to the two Class 5A semifinals. We'll start with Carl Albert versus Newcastle. Friday is 7 p.m. Norman North High School. Mark starts off with Carl Albert versus Newcastle.
There was Bill Hasten wrote a article in the Tulsa World last week talking about McAllister having a chance to knock off Carl Albert, and it's like 35-0 at halftime. So Jeff Craig did a really good job at McAllister this year, but I think that it's going to be really difficult to beat Carl Albert. So I think that Newcastle's had a good season. They've been back to this game in the semifinals for a second consecutive year. Didn't get to the final last year, but I think that I'm going to go with Carl Albert.
Sean.
A really good win by Newcastle last week, going and beating an undefeated Pryor team. So great win by the Racers. Carl Albert just completely dismantled McAllister last week. And my concern for Newcastle in this game is, they had to outscore Pryor in a track meet last week, and I just don't think you can do that to Carl Albert. I think Carl Albert's defense is too good. Their rushing attack is too good. They're going to limit possessions. They're going to keep the ball away from you. I do think Newcastle's playing really well, and I think they'll keep the game close late into the game and have a chance. But I've got Carl Albert senior class going to their fourth straight title game, so I've got the Titans in this one.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, again, kind of like Bixby, it's hard to pick against Carl Albert. Got to see both these teams on tape, a little bit today, and Carl Albert does what they do. They're good in all three phases. Really good quarterback play, good running back, and then they got dudes on defense, and I think Newcastle, looking at them, they're really big up front, and they're physical. I think Coach Brickman does a good job offensively. Obviously, I know the quarterback for Pryor got hurt, I think, third or fourth series of the first quarter last week. But before he got hurt, they were up 14-0, and Newcastle will have a great plan. But this is a tough ask to beat a Carl Albert team that has been there, done that multiple times. And so I'm going to go with Carl Albert on this one.
Coach Shack.
So I think if you're Bill, Mark, and you're writing that article, you're just hoping that if anybody's going to beat Carl Albert in the playoffs, it has to happen before they get to the semifinals, right? Or the finals. What are they? 20-1 lifetime in the semis. Who was the one team that beat him?
Booker T.
Good call. Yeah, that's right. And if they win this one, they're going to have the most state titles in Oklahoma history. They're going to pass Ada, who's had that record that seemed like it was insurmountable. Jinx is right there with them, but Carl Albert will own it if they can win it this year. And then they'll also have the longest 11-man winning streak also. So,
I mean.
And it's a team that you need to get this year. I mean, they've got a lot of guys coming back next season too. So.
Yeah, I mean, if they get the semifinals, how do you pick against them? I mean, they're 20-1 in the semis and 19-1 in the finals. I mean, I'm going the Titans and until they go to 6-1.
Coach Howard.
So I'm thinking I read this right or looked at it right when I was breaking stuff down today. 5A1 has 3 of the 4 teams.
Yes.
Newcastle, Bishop, and Lawton Mac. Man, 3 out of the 4 is good, but they ain't number 1. And until somebody knocks off Carl Albert, that's just how it is. I'm going with Carl Albert.
All right, let's go to our last game to pick tonight. It's Bishop McGuinness versus Lawton Mac. Game will be played Friday, 7 p.m., Noble High School. Mark?
Mac got him in the regular season finale to win the district championship, and I'm going to go with McGuinness to win this time. They've had a great season this year. They reversed a decision last year against Deer Creek, and they lost by 45 or maybe even more than that a year ago to Deer Creek, and then beat them this year. Played teams in Texas and Kansas and won those games. They've been really good all season long. So I'm going to go McGuinness.
Sean Meek.
Yeah, so another rematch game of game played earlier in the season where MacArthur won back in week 10 by 14, and like Coach Elric said, 5A District 1 was loaded with 3 teams still in the semis this week. MacArthur's scoring a ton of points. Their offense is rolling. They're averaging over 60 points a game in the playoffs. This game and the O'Keene-Walika game were the 2 toughest games of the week to pick when I was looking at it. I think the Irish, they can slow MacArthur down a little bit. So I'm going to pick Bishop McGuinness to win this game and go on and face Carl Albert.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, this I'm just going to start with, I'm going to pick Bishop McGuinness. Know a lot of those guys, and I think this is a rematch. I do think it's hard to beat a quality opponent twice in a year. I think those guys, obviously have done their film study, understand what went wrong in that first game. Obviously, it's hard to ever count out Coach Manning and MacArthur. But just with this being a rematch and kind of the way that first game went, I don't think Bishop McGuinness makes the same mistakes. I think they, to be honest with you, they have a really good run game when they stick with it, and then it opens up some other things. I think that Mac is feast and famine on defense sometimes, and I think McGuinness can do enough to control the game. If it gets into a shootout, obviously Mac's got the athletes to win, but I'm going to give my pick to Bishop McGuinness.
3 picks so far for Bishop McGuinness. Coach Shaq, let's go to you.
I'm going with the Highlanders. I mean, for no other reason, because they're the Highlanders.
Yes.
There's no other Highlanders in Oklahoma. I don't know is there another one anywhere? I mean, it could be the only one.
Not here.
Yeah, not here for sure. So, and Coach Manning does a great job, and I just think that he's kind of been due the last couple of years. It's nice to see him back in the semifinals, and I'm going to roll with the public school guys from Lawton this week. Sorry, Justin.
We've got the Highlanders in North Carolina, the Northern Highlands, Allendale, New Jersey Highlanders. So there's a few others, but not many.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I was
kind
thinking of Crust Pizza at a
Lake,
great price.
Lake Highlands is not the Highlanders in Dallas. I mean, that should be, but not the
yeah,
Highlanders.
that would make sense. Yeah.
The delicious crust.
Yeah.
Talk about
All
more.
right, let's go to Coach O. Our last pick of the night: Bishop McGuinness versus Lawton Mac.
You'll do your
Hey,
hands.
wrapping it up. So funny thing, when my kids were way young and coach's kids, anytime we'd go out to eat, there was always a conversation. If you were starting a school and you could pick your mascot and your colors, what would you pick? And Highlanders was always my go-to. What a great mascot. That's just big time. That is a classic. I think Coach Manning does a great job. Beating a team twice in a year is tough. Beating a team twice in 4 weeks, even tougher. But they've got some dudes. I know the guys at McGuinness do a great job, but I'm going with Coach Manning and, of course, the Highlanders.
All right, guys, great show as always. Really appreciate Coach Jones coming on tonight, giving us his time. Appreciate everybody joining us on the Squirtle Playoff Edition of the Squirtle Pater Pick'em Show. Be sure to tune into Squirtle.tv and the Squirtle app to hear all of our Squirtle Network schools audio feed and hopefully live feed as well. Thanks as always to our sponsors and our guests. We'll see you back next week with some state final games and also more semifinal games. Enjoy all the football this week, Oklahoma. We'll see you again